Be live. Get Instagram cranking. And we're off. Hello, hello. How we doing, everyone? Great to have ya. We got everything situated. Got the scenes in the correct order. The bone brew, orkin, and soups. What's going on, guys? How are we? Let me know if audio is all good. All right. So I hope the audio is going all right. Animation Nerd, hello from Jamaica. Great to have you. Doing good. Audio is good. Good. Beautiful. All right. Before we get stuck into it, I'm anxious to get stuck into it. Let's go 2 weeks until the workshop's happening. Got a couple of spots left. 5-week live workshop. All right. Finally understand light and value and form. Let's start 2026 off with a complete understanding of how light works and how to create form and how to use that understanding via values. So we've got 5 weeks. It's going to be good fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm updating a lot of the content from last cohort as well. Making a bunch of, a few more examples with some 3D models to really hit some of these ideas home. You get the Discord as usual. You know the drill. All right. If you're interested, I would hop in now. Spots are filling quickly, and it's going to be a rush right at the end. Starts January 24th. 2 time zones. European time zone, 9 a.m. Saturday, and 4 p.m. for the Americas. All right, choose your seat, the sit-in seat, the workshop seat, or the one-on-one seat. Sit-in seat, you're just the observer. You're the lurker. Nothing wrong with that. You can just pop in, see the lives. You don't get any interaction or Q&As or critiques. The workshop seat, you get personal critiques from me. I record them every week from the homework that you do via the assignments. We also get group critiques, and you get Q&A during the lives as well. You also get early access to the Grey Matter on-demand course, which isn't just the live recordings. It's a full course that I'm building from the ground up as we speak. And then we got the one-on-one seat. There's a couple left on here. If you want me to one-on-one live 3 1-hour sessions, along with everything that you get in the workshop seat. And you also get the access to the Grey Matter on-demand course as well. Yeah, that's about it. Links in the description. You know what to do if you're interested in finally understanding how to get your stuff looking solid. Get it looking 3D without redoing the same painting or section of the painting over and over again. Guessing. Let's stop guessing. Let's start figuring out how this stuff works. All right. With that, let's get into today's session. Thank you for listening. All right. Today, I really just want to carve some shapes. Just chop. Wax some color along. I don't know where I'm throwing the color along, but we'll throw some color around the place. So I was just doing this previously or prior to the lesson. Why does it feel like courses and teaching seems to be the most viable way for artists to make money? It's one of the ways I make money, but I also sell my art as well. The sculpts, the prints, the originals coming soon as well. All right. So I'm going to start sketching. I might knock this back. Yeah, originals are coming soon, Bone Brew. Signed, of course. What's an original? That's almost hard. That's a big part of the originals, you know? I'm not going to sell an original and just be like, yeah, no signature. We'll be whacking a signature on those ones for sure. But yeah, got to figure out. Yeah, because every sculpt that I did and every print was signed as well. But to get them, because I'm thinking about like, what am I saying? I'm just whacking shapes down at the moment. Bear with me. I've got to get into stream mode. Talk and draw. Shape. I've got to figure out how to ship oil paintings and gouaches and traditional stuff, you know what I mean? Making sure it gets there. I've shipped sculpts. I know how to do that. I'm well aware on how that's going to happen. But the old oil paintings, something that's flat that can't be rolled up. Haven't done that before, so I've got to do a little bit of research into that. All right. What interested me about this reference as well in particular, won't gouache be tough because of the reactivation? You're damn right, Super. So that's why I've got to figure out how to seal it at the end, so it can't reactivate. Or I'll use something like acrylic gouache, so it doesn't reactivate. But what got me going with this one is the color variations here. This almost looks like a Phil Hale straight off the bat. Like it's already got like the composition, like it just looks cool. So let's see what we can do with it. You got like the reds here going into like the paler peaches. You got super saturated elbow. I love a good saturated elbow. Few things are better than a saturated elbow. And then you got some color variation in the hands and the arms. I don't know. I reckon we could just experiment and see if we can find the undulations, the forms. And there's really nice like shadow shapes in here. Let's see if we can keep everything centered for you. For paint nuts, so I'm not sure what you're talking about, Bone Brew. Maybe it was carrying on from prior with the gouache talk, but yeah, got to seal it, because if any moisture gets into the gouaches become reactivated, and if I'm not there when they're reactivated, that's an issue. All right, we've got a little base. Let's have a look. We might even whip out Blender as well. Can't make any promises. So I'm going to whack in some notes of where some of this saturation is going. Do I do the shapes to begin with, or do I just, yeah, fuck it, I'll just go. Let's just go. Let's not get tied up in the process and being tight and clean with our layers. Bugger it. No time for that. Safi, do you think motor skills affect the way you use your knowledge on paper? Yeah, definitely. It's a different world for sure. But the principles still apply, right? Like everything that I've learned with digital, values, color, form, you know, it's same, but different. So instead of me coming in here and going like, I would be mixing the red, right? So I'd have like the, whatever red I'd have over here. And let's say I wanted to get the skin color, then I would just have to physically mix. I know I'd have like the white. Yeah, that's all right. Bit of an off-white, so it's not like white. And you got the blues to cool it down. Right, get a nice little lemon yellow if we were to do this traditionally. I do enjoy a little bit of quinacridone magenta. So something like that. It's not super accurate, but you get the idea. So then we'd have to go, all right, where's the value here? So I'll grab a little bit of this, a little bit of the white. We want to orange it up. So let's add a little bit of the yellow. But mind you, the Photoshop mixing isn't fantastic, you know? This is where like Eclipse Studio or your Rebel and all them, that's where they come in really, really handy. Art of J or I, are you using a Cintiq? No, I'm using like a pen tablet at the moment. So just straight up, I'm looking at the screen. Candace, morning Ben. Love the new streaming angle and the backlight. Thank you for noticing, Candace. You'd be the one that would catch that. Definitely. Thank you very much. I need you guys to talk me off the ledge of purchasing a camera slider and a DJI gimbal. I'm getting an itchy trigger finger on that because there's some shots I want to make. Because I've been doing actually a lot of recording behind the scenes. Haven't shared any of it yet. But I've been doing a lot of recording and I'm looking to step up my content game. And I don't know if it's just an excuse. It's like purchasing procrastination. I don't know if that's a thing, but it feels like it. But damn, it's like it would really enhance the quality, because I really want to have like not story, but like storylines throughout all my videos. I want it to be like, all right, it's not just like face to camera, chatting and drawing. This is what these things are for. So it's, yeah. It's Neff. You're not helping. You're not helping. Oh, yo. So you feel like all color theory works regardless of medium, or do you have to change mindsets when going from digital to gouache to other things? The theory doesn't change, right? The theory doesn't change, but the way the medium does, right? So for example, gouache, it will dry darker when you lay it down. So that's just something that you got to take into account. But values, color, light, they all work. You can look around and you can see how they work. Just base level life, right? But how you then represent that in different mediums. I mean, it's the same as if I was doing this in pencil, for example. If I was just doing it singular, if I was to make this decision here to like really carve out this shadow shape, I'm still thinking about values. So, okay, this is going to be like blocked in a little bit. All right. Now, if I wanted to really, really like make this form shadow believable, and this is a little bit softer, then I'd have to do it differently than I would with, say, like an oil painting, all right? I'd have to probably either do some cross-hatching or some smudging or something. But the principle is exactly the same. This is a form shadow. This is a cast shadow. This is a harder edge here. So I'd have a harder edge, softer edge, right? And that's the beauty of it. That's where I kind of block out a lot of the noise of tips and tricks and this brush and that brush and blah, blah, blah. They're all great, right? They can be super useful, super fun. But without that base understanding, it's kind of like having the most expensive like bow and arrow, but you don't know how to shoot straight. It's not gonna, like, it might help a 0.01%, you know? There is some lagging in the stream, is there? Motherfuck. Hold on, we gotta close some tabs. All right, I'm gonna quit this. Safari. Let's quit Safari, because that's a little... Aha! I think that was the issue. Fucking Safari, hey? Sorry, I said paper, talking about drawing in general. I'm asking if you think about your motor skills, specifically the way you use your hand and how fast maybe you put your marks. Yeah. So, for example, if I'm oil painting, this is like real. Hey, Super, you shut up. I know how to shoot video. All right, I can shoot straight. Double meaning right there. But you might be right. But shh. So if I was to do, why are we dropping frames? Come on. Maybe I've just got to. Let's bring this in here. Whoa, hello. Excuse me, sir. Can you get out the way? All right. Bring this here. Let's close this. Let's close that. We've just got to be closing everything so we get no lag, or minimal lag, let's say. I can't imagine what's causing it, because sometimes it just doesn't want to cooperate. Super. Is it worth getting them for the 1 or 2 shots? Couldn't you take a scrappy approach and just DIY a rig? Nah, because I can imagine using it for every video that I'm doing moving forward. That's the issue. All right, let's see. Because I do want to have the reference up for you guys as well. Let's do this. That over here. Oh, maybe it's the size of the bloody canvas is chugging it. Maybe we've got to open a nice little new one. Let's do something reasonable. Let's do like I don't know, 3,000 by 3,000. Something like that. All right. Whack him in here. Okay. Scale you down. Grab what we've already done. Whack him in there. And maybe it could be a little bit smoother. Let's see. Nah, still lagging as shit. What's the issue? What's the issue? My hunch is it could be Instagram. I'm not sure. Let's see if I close this. Also, you might get a sneak preview of what I'm working on at the moment. Don't tell anyone. There you go. Alright, maybe that's helped. Nah, something for sure in the background is screwing me up. Alright, everyone on Instagram, let's head over to YouTube. All right, I'm gonna have to say goodbye to Instagram because it's not cooperating today. Thank you for your considerations, and hopefully the technical difficulties will be better next year. Next year, hopefully next year, next week. And this should be now buttery smooth, or I am completely lost as to why. This should be a lot better for my YouTube people. I've been eyeing the DJI gimbal for a while, Candice. I know, but still haven't figured out how it will work into my workflow. Any shots specifically in mind for you? Well, hold on, just got to end the live and let's close that tab. Because I reckon Firefox is pretty hungry with the RAM. All right, this should be a little better, hopefully. Yeah, so the combo, why I'm looking at the DJI and this particular, it's the iPhoto Shark Nano 2. The naming of these things, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you just come up with random words and slap them together, I reckon. Let's even go pure F. Because it's I think it's the first time that DJI has done a collaboration with a slider company. So you can actually power the gimbal via the slider and then you have the full axis motion. I'm also thinking about this for traditional work as well, to get some really clean and smooth like B-roll and talking heads that have a bit of movement as well. So you want us to convince you not to go all in on something you can see full, long-term, practical. It's Neff, what are you doing to me? Practical use for that will make doing what you love more fun. I don't see how this is possible. You make a fantastic argument, I've got to tell you. I keep hearing the same advice of palette doesn't matter. Yeah, well, I mean, but flipping, I have an issue. I have a little issue. Let's get my head out of the way because you don't need to see that. You see enough of me already, so you can see the reference more. I do have an issue with flippant comments like that because it all depends. It depends on what you want. The palette does matter if you're going for a certain style, you know? I wouldn't use a CMYK palette if I'm trying to look like Sergeant necessarily. You know what I mean? Or like the Zorn palette. If I'm trying to get the Zorn palette, like the, whatever you call it, the limited palette, then I wouldn't use a palette with everything in it. You know? I don't know. It seems like the slider is worth it. Is it too expensive? Maybe it's not too expensive, but it's just like one of those purchases that you got to think about it a little bit. You got to convince yourself. But also the resale value of this stuff is pretty decent as well. The DJI gimbals are pretty legit when it comes to that. Yeah, I just thought I'd talk through it with you guys, see what you think. But it's hard to say because it's like you don't know what I'm exactly going to be using it for. So it's like, if it was available right now, because I've got to order it, I can't just go down the shop and get it. I would probably already have it. I mean, Neff isn't wrong, but I know he's not. They're not. I'm being the enabler that I want in life. All right, I've got no idea what I want this because I don't want to do just like this. I kind of want it to be like a character. I don't want it to be like Andy Murray here. I want to see like this is going to be something different maybe. But here, what I'm doing is what I see a lot of oil painters do is I whack in like that base level of color variation to then come over the top of later. You know, also my hunch is, I don't know if you guys familiar with Phil Hale. If you're not, you should go check out his work. It's bloody beautiful. But my hunch is sometimes, well, not so, like my hunch is how he can sometimes get the color variation. All right, without me trying to explain how an artist, what an art looks like, a piece looks like. So Phil Hale. Like here, right? This is what I'm talking about. Like this sort of stuff. Like the lighting, the everything is just like beautiful. Right? You see the color you can see how I like saw it like 1,000,000% in here. But if you look at this, oh my God. Come on, give it, all right. Is this going to be high resolution or it's not? All right, it's good enough. Okay. So here we've got all the values. Everything's beautiful, right? Everything feels 3D. But this color variation in here, my guess, my hunch is that, I mean, you could do this a bunch of different ways traditionally, but like glazing could be the way to do this. So he's almost done like a monochromatic, essentially value block in. Then he could have come in. This is pure speculation. I could be completely wrong here. Someone that knows oils, please let me know. But yeah, doing like glazing over the top, so you'd get like a transparent red over the value setup that you've already done, and then you'd maybe have like the orange down here. You know, that's my hunch, and in understanding that or like thinking through that, we could potentially do something here where you could use something like, once we got all our values dialed in monochromatically, it's kind of like the black and white to color process a little bit, but it's almost like I'd want to get the values in with some sort of, not just pure gray necessarily. I'd want a little bit of color in there first, and then we can sort of push the color variation one way or another, you know? What's probably going to happen is you'll get the slider is that you'll use it a handful of times. Don't do this to me. Eventually you'll get tired of setting it up and taking it down and you won't want to use them. That's one possibility. That's the risk, right? That's the risk when you buy anything. You try out a new food, you buy it, then it sits in the fridge for a long time, you know? Life is a gamble, my friend. I'm just trying to convince myself at the moment. I mean, I need an overhead setup for my stream. I'm using an old Logitech Tech webcam. Yeah, if you've you can do that pretty cheaply though. Have you got like what camera are you using? Using like a DSLR or just the webcam at the moment? You could get yourself a secondhand DSLR, get a or just like a decent sort of camera, or you can get some pretty damn good webcams, you know. Like if it's just the webcam, yeah. Or you could just like upgrade your webcam, then get like on Facebook Marketplace or something, like a C stand. That's what I did. That's what I got. Like I got a C stand here. Oh jeez, you can't even see it. Oh well. One of these bad boys. And then that gives you like a lot of maneuverability. So you can whack the webcam on top and then you can move it around however you want. One thing with top-down setups, I have tried it connected to the desk, and no matter how hard I try to be careful not to shake the desk, even though this desk is like a solid wood with like really heavy metal frames, there's always just a little bit of wiggle, which is very annoying. So then when you're editing it, you just like da, 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 da. So that's why I would almost recommend having the top-down setup off of the thing that you're working on, even if you are just like typing or doing whatever. Because it's bloody annoying after hours of recording and you look at it and you're like, oh, Christ, all right. Well, okay, so I'm just coming in here, adding some more of this color variation. We could really pop it, like, get real nutty with some of the variations of color. So we've got this transition here in color. So I'm not so much thinking about values at the moment. I'm just thinking about that local color. And can I make it pop a little bit more as well? And then after we can come through and do all these nice little values to really sculpt the forms. I mean, we could even come through at the moment and just like push it even more. So if we wanted to do, let's say, I've been playing with overlay a lot lately. If we really wanted to like push it and be like, yep. It's quite artsy, you know, not realistic at all, but A little bit of artsy fartsy. Really popping the color, because then we can come and carve through the... Whoa, hello. That was not what I wanted. Lobster, kind of, right? That's it, yeah, it's kind of cool. He's got like the big forearms as well. Yeah, I kind of like that. I reckon that's fine. So then you could carve back in and be like, all right, what's the values like here? Where are the planes hitting? Maybe he's just got like maybe he's like a monster sort of dude. So just whacking in a little bit. Of some darker values to sort of sell that head direction. So we've got that bottom lip here. Maybe we make the teeth a little bit brighter. I need to stop doing this whole zoom in, zoom out thing. So let's keep it stable. I think Phil Howe is using the traditional oil painting technique, building the values with white on a dark background, then glaze it with transparent oil paint. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what my hunch is as well. That's what my hunch is as well, Candace. Also, I'll be working on those reels probably this week as well. I'll send it through to you to see what you reckon. All right, what sort of nose should he have? I want it to kind of be like really jagged and like lots of edges, like hard edges, and just really like... Why, thank you, gamer. I wouldn't... stop zooming in and out. Just fucking stop. I need to unbind the Z. That's what I need to do. I often switch my process up. Sometimes I like taking care of local color first. Other times I start with shading. Me too. Yeah, I like switching it up. Sometimes light direction. I don't know if it's good, but it's fun experiment. That's it. It is good. If you're having fun experimenting, 100% it's good. Now, as we go on, we can start to see some of these value things. How this jaw is going to be casting a shadow here, but then the neck is going to be a slightly brighter value. This takes some time and patience just to push and pull. Flipping is allowed. Zooming in and out is not. Now we also want to, what's the word? Not influence, not weight. Can't think of the word. But I almost want, like, there's more of this side of the head showing than this side, right? So more of this ear. Been thinking about incorporating traditional techniques into digital painting as well. Really liking the direction you're taking at the moment. Thank you, Candice. Yeah, no, it's fun. It's fun. It just opens up a whole new world of just thinking about stuff, you know. And it also could help you stand out. There's also that aspect of it as well. I want to have a little sneak preview of some of these speculars here. See what that looks like. Yeah, cool. I see the vision. The face is a little bit scuffed at the moment, but that's fine. So now there's not going to be any of the speculars down here, right? There will be specular reflections, yes, but like not the super highlights down here, because the angle of this is facing away. Ra7437. Hey Ben, just had to say that I love your sense of color and how you stylize a human figure. So much life and motion. Oh, thanks so much. Thanks for popping in. What made you choose painting like this today? Good question, Super. I don't know. If I'm perfectly honest. I wanted to not be as rigid. Let's say I didn't feel very processy today. I didn't want to like get the layers out and like get everything just like I just wanted to play. I saw this reference and I was like, yeah, let's play. Let's give it a whirl, you know? Because I've been doing a little bit of a tighter render the last couple of days. Here, I'll show you. I'll give my stream peeps a little preview. This is a little post that I'm going to be doing because I was playing around with a little bit more texture rather than like super like rendered things based off of this reference. So I was like, been looking at a lot of Lion Decker, a lot of everything. But again, everything's based in values, right? It's the values don't work, it all falls apart. And then really trying to understand and doing like little studies next to it of like, all right, how does the hand actually, how would the hand be sitting on stuff? So I've been very like analytical with stuff recently. So today we're just whipping. I love the expression already. It's so fun how it can be expressed by simple shapes and value. I know, right? That's the fun part. It's just like, okay, what's the minimum amount that I can do that does the job? Now, I don't like how, not monochrome. Monochrome isn't the word for it. Let's say, I don't know. I want more color variation up in the face. The face is nowhere near where I want it to be. I actually might do a little sketch over the top to like lock in the face a little bit, because it's like, it's kind of in that in between what I'm looking at the reference and what's here. So I think it might be good to just ignore the reference for the moment. Just knock. And this is like ultimate power here, right? Just to be happy to be like, all right, let's start again. You know, I might whip in just like a little bit of something of some of the color variation for now. Then we can go on this top layer and let's see if we can just get some, I don't know, get something more stylized-y, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Thanks, gamer. Thank you, Super. Also, those green pants have such a cool texture. Yeah, I want 2026 is the year of texture, I reckon. So also, if I'm going to go like more out there with the shapes of the face, because I don't want to have eyes here. I don't want to. I want it to be like almost zombie-like, right? So these are going to be like just glazed over eyes that are sunken in to the head. All right, we may have to push the body a little more. Who knows? I've been on a bit of a texture kick the last few months as well. Beautiful. It's fun, right? We could also, do this quintessential, almost Spider-Man-esque, Deadpool-like one eye, a little larger, one a little smaller. Also, we got to take into account the perspective. I'm zooming in and out. I've got to stop. See how this is like a larger, and let's see if we can do something like this. I don't know. It kind of calls for that somehow. I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't know. We're just experimenting right now. So then this brow again. We got to think that we're looking up. So we've got to take into account how this whole head is orientated. Yep, super. That's it. There's something happening. Now we got the... Now, it can be like such a subtle thing that will like make or break an expression. Because now this looks wrong because of how small that chin is. It's like, if we were to look at that bang on, his chin would be like the distance between that bottom lip and the chin would be tiny, right? So, also I've just had an idea. I'm just going to sketch it. Okay, maybe he's in the water. And we can do some cool effects there. All right. Boom, boom, boom. Back of the head. Right, we still want to see that. That back of the head, that ear, probably that's gonna be out here somewhere. Right, really trace it. Really like think. Okay. Where is it? Boom, there. I've got to remind myself sometimes as well. So how do we fix this chin? Well, it might be pretty foreshortened. So that he might have like a top lip that is just, we're just going to see maybe touching. I don't like that tangent there, but just for the argument's sake, let's have that like that. Then this bottom lip could be coming up like that, but then to really sell the depth, that we have that bottom lip maybe overlapping the teeth. Maybe it could look stupid. I don't know yet. Stay tuned. It looks he looks strained. All right, we can utilize the jowls here if we want. But again, we're trying to, at least I am. It's a stylistic thing as well, right? We're thinking in 3D. So we've got center line happening. This has all got to make sense. We would probably still see some of the teeth here. We'd see less of this side of the head, right? Who are your favorite artists that come to mind? JC Leyendecker, Norman Rockwell. TB Choi. New ones, Phil Hale. And a bunch more that I can't think of. Those are the ones that just come to my mind. That mentality is great. Not being afraid to restart from scratch if something isn't working. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I have to stick with what I have and force it to work. Yeah, there is a time and place for that. There is a time and place for that. But there's also not a time and place for that as well. That's the most vaguest fucking comment that I've made. But yeah, it's not the only way to do things. Sometimes you just got to nuke it and start again, you know? Christian Nee is in the building. Holy frick. Everyone say hi to Christian. How you doing, man? Oh, nice. Tell him I say hi. Is that Tomas? Like the Tomas that I know? Tomas. Who says what the hell? That's crazy. Is this Tomas Tomas? I've got no idea what you're talking about, Christian. Ah, that is Tomas Tomas. Tell him I say hi. And tell him I say hi as well. Oh, that didn't show up. Yeah, the nosebleed section. Hell yeah. Nosebleed section. Those guys are from my hometown. They're from here. The Hilltop Hoods. As in the Adelaide Hills. Such a good song. And they rap in Australian as well, which I love. Like, is it like the accent? They're not Australians that put on an American accent. Andrew's a new convert to that band. Beautiful. Yeah, because I think, I mentioned it to him. I think. Oh, Andrew is what I meant to say. Right. I see. But yeah, no, Hilltop Hoods. Very nostalgic. Very premium. Is there an opportunity for us to open the mouth even wider? Maybe. Now I'm getting into the weeds here. I did want to just like go. Catch you later, Christian. I'll chat to you soon, man. Iris, how you doing? Thank you. Yeah, I love a good bit of topology, you know. Playing the plucky squire. Nice. I'm gonna get into. I don't know. Maybe I should. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm not. I'm not a massive gamer, but people seem to have so much fun with them. Ah, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing well. Hope you're well as well. I hope you're well as well. Bit of a tongue twister. Prashan, what's going on? Do you guys live together or something, Prashan and Iris? You guys hop on at the same time all the time. Dude, Prashan, I see your reels. Some of your reels are popping. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Oh, that's okay. I'm not a gamer most of the year, and then occasionally I'll play some games, play some things, and then go back to not playing. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's simplify this like just a triangle, like there. Maybe this is way too smoothie. Let's go. Give us maybe an indication of some light direction. Okay, I'm taking too long with this. Let's go back to painting. Way too saturated everywhere. Don't like it. Didn't look at it for a while. Not a fan. What was the last video game you played, Ben? Actually, Fortnite. Me and my partner, sometimes I do more of the watching her play. More so than me playing it myself. But yeah, that would be the last one. And I'm going to, if and when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, I'm going to play the absolute crap out of that. Super and I were chatting the other day about the nostalgia of how the young kids won't get the experience of going to EB Games, getting the physical game, sitting in the car, opening it up and flipping through the manual because that's the only thing you could do because you're so excited to get home and play it. But it's like, all right, let's read through the manual. You don't get that anymore. I play too many games. I'm playing games right now. Yeah, but that's what you make them as well, dude. So that's kind of like, it's research, you know? The red, orange, purple is nice. Thank you. Yeah. I'm thinking I want to, I want to do something with it. I like games and play on occasion, but I notice I'd rather do art. Yeah, that's fair enough. I came to a realization, unfortunate or fortunate, when I was probably like, maybe 15, 14. I was obsessed with like The Sims and just playing The Sims. Like I'd just sit and play for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And I'd like build up their career and blah, 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 blah. And then one day, for whatever reason, it just clicked. I'm like, hold on. What would happen if I spent all this time on this sim, you know? And then I kind of didn't touch games very much at all after that. I was like, oh yeah, I should, let's just figure. That was just me. That's like a me problem or like thing. Because I know it's good just for switching off as well, you know? I'd like to design these shadow shapes a little bit as well. Now, one thing I'm noticing, if we're using a similar sort of shadow pattern, understanding the light source. Because his head is tilted back, it's not going to be casting a massive shadow over his eyes or anything like that. Because he is actually tilting his head up, so he would see this plane underneath here. Also, I'm just talking through this for myself. It's not so much a lesson per se, but it's just talking through my thinking. Right, that's why there might not be a massive shadow coming down here from the nose, and you don't see it here so much necessarily, because his head is tilted up. Those shadow shapes would change. I think. Goodness, the kids these days don't know how much they missed out on. I know, right? That was literally my first introduction to game art. Me too. Opening the case and pulling out the manual to look at all the illustrations. Oh, so good. I miss renting games in college and my friends and I trying to complete it before it needed to be returned. Can't get that anymore either. I know. That was so good. Going to Blockbuster. Oh. And being disappointed if it was like taken out. But then you double check to see, hey, has anyone returned it? Is it in like the return thing? And it's there. And you're like, yes. I remember copying the cover art of Alundra 2 when I bought it at a flea market. If I would have known how much of an influence that would have been to me, I would have indulged in those manuals more. Yeah, I remember like buying the, you know, like the thick, like I've got like the San Andreas like manual of the game, like the how to play it essentially. Oh, good times. Same, I used to play games until I found Blender. Prashawan was saved. No, but it was the same with me in a similar way. Developing skills is kind of like a game. 100%. 100%. I love it. If anything, I have the most fun learning new things when it comes to art. You know? New techniques, new ideas, new ways of doing stuff, and testing them out more so. Ra7437, I've set a goal to start a weekly live stream in the next couple of months. Beautiful. Would you be willing to share some tidbits about streaming for the first time? How did you feel during your first stream? My first question is, what's stopping you from starting this week? In the next couple of months, what's the blocker there? Number one. Number two, I'll give you some context of this stream. This is a chill stream. I'm not looking for growth with content. Like, this is a get our community together and just hang out and chill. This Monday stream, or your Sunday, depending on where you're at, that's what it's for. I'm not focused on the numbers. I'm not focused on optimization. If I was, this would look a lot different. You know, I'd have pre-planned everything. We would almost do like seasons of challenges, which I'm planning on doing. Because I got this question at Lightbox on the panel. And there was a lot of assumptions made that this is like, they're like, oh, I want to grow a following and blah, blah, blah. And I know that you do streaming every week. How do I stream? I'm like, well, those two things are very separate. At least for me, growth wise, you know? So that's one. Why do you want to do it? Biggest deterrent for streaming is not having viewers for me. I didn't have viewers either in the beginning. You could think of it literally as practice. Like, there's no reason why you couldn't whack on the stream and practice talking through your process. No one cares. Like, this is the thing. I don't know if this is how you feel, but it could be. It's how I felt. I was like, oh no, people are going to see no viewers and they're going to think it's weird that I'm talking to myself. Like, even if I'm just practicing talking and getting better on camera, you know, like this has helped me a lot with like getting better on camera, talking through my process, interacting with the community, you know what I mean? Like there's nowhere else that you can get practice with it than just doing the thing. You know? And no one cares. In like the nicest way possible. Like, so if you get someone that comes in and they say something nasty, fuck them. Who gives a shit? Like, they're a scumbag. You know, would you want to hang out with them in the real world as well? No. So think of it literally as training. Because I don't have the most like viewers with streaming. I'm not concerned about that. This is a good way for one also, while I am in the middle of other projects where I can't put out longer form content as readily, which is going to change soon, by the way. But it's a good way to keep something happening as well, content-wise. If not optimized, even if it's not optimized the most for growth, there's always something here. You know, I'm here every Monday or Sunday, depending, you know. Yagi, how you doing? Great to have you. If you stream art, they will come true out of the cornfields. Speaking of, I need to start getting ready. Nice. Randy, hey, I miss watching your streams so much. They help me both improve my art and sleep at night. Oh, that's good. That's interesting. But yeah, I would recommend getting started, scrappy. You don't need the best equipment. You don't need the best audio. You need something that's half decent. So just watch a few tutorials on YouTube just to get like the right settings in OBS and that kind of stuff. Doesn't take very long. Iris, I think it's great you do it consistently. Yeah. That's also a good way, even passively, to start growing more people to view it, because they know, like, you show up the same. It's like a TV show essentially, right? And I did research this a bit, where it's like, yeah, if you show up consistently, the chances of people showing up again and again and again are going to be a lot higher than doing it like sporadically. And it's a good challenge as well. It's a good little like willpower habit thing. Because sometimes I don't feel like it, if I'm being honest. Just like you guys might not feel like drawing or painting or sculpting or whatever, you know what I mean, sometimes. But you know what? Once you get started, it's fine. It is hard to stream when you don't have viewers and you have a goal in mind, but that's the instant gratification part. Well, what's the goal? That's the first thing. Like, if the goal is to grow viewership, then you've got to do that outside the platform that you're streaming on, or outside the medium of streaming. I think any streamer will tell you that. I wouldn't even call myself a streamer. I happen to stream, but it's that's with shorts. With like, think of it as like a funnel. Like, I think of shorts is introducing people to my stuff that might not know anything about it. So you can't make any assumptions with like, because in the scheme of things, no one knows anything about me or what I do or my art or nothing, right? So coming at it with that mindset of having that top of funnel where it's the reels and shorts and TikTokers and whatever. Then you've got maybe your social posts, like your YouTube posts, your Instagram carousels, images, etc., etc. Then you've got your long form content, which is like the meat and potatoes, really, of content, I think. And then you got the streaming, which is another, like, getting to know you more as like a person versus just like someone putting out stuff pre-recorded. People come to you and they get to chat. It depends on how you want yourself to be perceived online as well. I want to have like as little of a difference, let's say, of if you were to meet me in real life to what I am like now. Because that'd just be too tricky for me to balance if I'm trying to be like, I don't know, edited in a way of like. So yeah, so think of it like as a funnel, if that makes sense. Everyone starts with 0 views. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm almost falling asleep because I'm in bed with my headphones and it's late. This is so relaxing. I love it. Oh, I'm glad. That's funny. Found your page through Twitter. Would watch your video. There you go. You hear about people finding you from, people find me from Pinterest. I have never posted anything on Pinterest in my life. Right? People will repost my stuff that I did on Instagram on Pinterest, and then people find me through Pinterest and other you know what I mean? So it's doing it as a strategy more so than doing more of one thing because that's what everyone else, or that's what you think everyone else is doing. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, now I've got to stream 6 days a week. It's like, no, let's see if you can reverse engineer it. Let's see if you can even start thinking about how you find people and then saving them as someone that you like, but also how you thought as a viewer. You know, did you find them through Twitter? Did you find them through Pinterest, YouTube? You know what I mean? And then what made you want to keep watching? You know what I mean? You can get real analytical with it. I love getting analytical with this sort of stuff. It's good fun. Quayax, could you tell me a bit about yourself? Lovely stream, by the way. That's a very big question, I guess. Hello, I'm Ben. I'm Australian. From Australia, born and raised. I like drawing and painting and sharing it online. I love the content side of stuff. I think the whole everything is the art, like the editing, the videos, the blah, 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 blah. I have a background in software design and development. I'm currently building a course platform so that I can share my ideas, thoughts, and learnings in a way that I think is the best way to do it. What else? I've been drawing on and off for most of my life. Only somewhat recently in the scheme of things got into this content game, maybe like 2 years ago. 2.5 now, I think it's coming up to it, and making it a full-time gig. And I love getting nerdy about this sort of stuff, which you can probably tell. I love getting nerdy about painting, drawing, and the content side of things. It's like that software side of my brain starts kicking in. I'm like, all right, there's a problem here. It's figure outable. If no artist on any platform was getting any views or any nothing, then I'd be like, oh no, it's the algorithm, blah, 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 blah. But if people are getting views and popping off every day, then it's something that can be figured out. And I enjoy figuring that out as well. So it's like a nice symbiotic. I get to do art. I get to grow in that. I get to share what I learn. I get to figure out the game of content. I get to meet you guys. I get to chat and have a bit of banter while I do it through streaming as well. You know what I mean? For me, growth and the ultimate goal, independent artist. All right, so then you've got to come at it with a strategy instead of just stream necessarily, if that makes sense. Also, YouTube is a great platform because you can make videos and stream and they both feed into each other. 1,000,000% super. It's great. I hate the other side, the funnel, the reels, the marketing, the socials. It all feels like screaming into the void. I would see if you could do your best to at least try to change that mindset. Because this is a part of it, right? The content, the marketing, the blah blah blah. It's a massive part of it. So if there's a way or even a format that you can learn to like really love, well, not even love, but just like, all right, you can deal with it. That's the way to go. Because I think of the whole, like the packaging of everything, even the package, like the quote unquote packaging of an Instagram post, like a carousel, instead of just thinking of it as an afterthought, try and think of the viewer, right? I'll even go as far, like I think I've showed you this before, right? But if we're talking content, right? I'll even go as far as to take a screenshot of the Discover page, because that's where the growth is going to come from the Discover page. I will put work in progresses of the post or the painting, if this is the goal of it, in a mock-up, right? To see how eye-catching it is, right? Because if I'm just doing this and it's going to show that, is that really going to be that eye-catching? You know? That'll get lost. So I've got to position it in a certain way where it's going to be the most advantageous for more people to see it. Again, it's a game. The platforms want more eyeballs. That's all they care about. Right? So if you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours. If you can get more people to look at your post, stay on your post, be interested in what you're saying as well, be interested in what you're working on, and also having a real, I don't know, having like a genuine like interest in what you do. Like, I love this shit. I could talk about color variation for a month of Sundays, you know, and different artists and different techniques and blah, 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 blah. Like having a real interest in stuff. I see that myself as a viewer. That comes through in the content like crazy, you know? And it comes through very clearly when it's not, when it just feels like that you've slapped it together. And it's just like, yeah, okay, I got to do a post, throw it in, boom, done. Oh, thank goodness that's it. You know what I mean? Like, but you got to figure out your way of communicating on these platforms. And that's only going to get easier and better by trial and error. There's definitely strategies and this and that. But you've also got to figure out your way of having fun with it. Lecture over. Sorry. I love this shit. It's interesting, you know. Good point. I definitely could start now. I think I just want a dedicated time to work on personal projects for a few hours a week and be able to hang out and chat with folks. Talking to an empty room is a bit scary if I'm being real, but not a big hang up. Well, you know what? You could just turn the camera on, right? And not stream, and you'd be doing that anyway if you're just talking to an empty room. So it's no more scary. The scary part is the opportunity for someone to pop into your room, you know? But there's nothing scary about it. I reckon why not start this week? Why not start tomorrow? If you got time, figure it out, you know? Delaying it is there's no use. Yeah, like that integrity just being your plain self. I feel the same drive, so I want to not feel a need to present a different personality. Yeah, 100%. Benevolent artist, Sandman. What's the best Australian TV show? If I'm honest, I'm not a fan of Australian TV shows personally. Like just in general. I don't know why. There hasn't really been one that's grabbed me. I've grown up with American stuff really that I love. Like everything is like American TV shows. My name is Ben and I like to party. True. So for someone who hates that side, the socials, the IG, the screaming in the void, as I call it, what do? You start small. You don't give yourself the pressure of saying, oh, now I've got to do an Instagram story, an Instagram post, add this or that, or this or that, or this or that. Spend, I don't know, a period of time, whatever you can do, on just one style of social content. Try it out. See if you like it, right? Experiment. Expect no views. The goal and the success is in doing the thing at this point in time for you. It's not the 1,000 likes, the 30,000 likes. It's not the like 200 comments or whatever. It's the actual doing the thing is the success here, right? So shifting that that goalpost from the numbers to the consistency is what you should really think about. I think the Bone Brew. Poncho Pyro. Hey, did you have a good New Year's? Yeah, it was nice and chilled. Did do anything crazy. Just stayed home and hung out. All right, I'm getting way too hung up on the face here. I do want to start playing with the old color variation. So let's boom, 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 bing, boom. I reckon because he looks like a little monstrish, maybe I'll do this as a different layer mode. Let's try multiply, see what we come up with. Gamify the hard parts. Yeah, as best you can. That's good advice, Ben, about finding a way to enjoy it. A different framing. I sometimes struggle with that. Even though I've been an artist on social media for years. Yeah, I struggle with it as well. It doesn't come easy to me, let's say, you know? All right. Have fun, Bone Brew. Dude doesn't know what it's like living with a dog alone. If I start talking to Wall, she's going to bark at me. Oh, no. Okay, Mr. In-Between. All right, I'll give you that. Mr. In-Between, I've watched some clips. It looks pretty legit, actually. From the Australian TV show. Yep, fair. Fair, cool. It's Summer Heights High. Okay, now we're getting into Yeah, I'm thinking like home and away and all that sort of shit. No. Summer Heights High, if you want to laugh, 100%. And Art Attack. I actually think Art Attack was originally British. I might be wrong there. Not sure. Shifting the goalposts from numbers to consistency. Well said. Yeah. I mean, yeah. When the numbers, if you're waiting for the numbers, it's not a good strategy. You gotta work on what you can control, and what you can control is your output and your consistency. Same, really. And sometimes I've got to take my own advice, because sometimes I get hung up in the numbers. I'm like, oh no, this post didn't do blah, 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 blah. Who cares? No one cares, really. They don't be embarrassed. Don't stress out. Literally no one cares. It's a little bit too... I don't know. I'm not enjoying the colors quite yet. So let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can do some large swaths of adjustment. Alright, so I reckon we turn this a little bit more orange maybe. We could also use the color. How are the values looking? Hey, yeah, get out of here. Yeah, see, the values aren't popping. I haven't pushed the values yet. So that's going to be a part of it. I reckon, yeah, we desaturate this. That's maybe what it needs a little bit. Maybe we actually make him look a little bit sickly. Maybe there's a bit of room for some of this like desaturated yellowy sort of color. Then we come back through. Yeah, I'm kind of muting everything down a little bit. Then we merge them all down and we continue to paint. Now we can start to think about some values. Even brush direction as well, or stroke direction, let's say. What I mean by that is, instead of, let's say, like doing something like this, maybe you would want to go along the form here. You know, I've been studying a lot of line decker recently, like actually studying, not just like looking at it and being like, ooh, this looks nice. Actually studying his brush strokes. And you see a lot of this like really following the form. And there is something, if you search his process, where someone says that he doesn't blend, I call bullshit on that. All right, because you might think that you think of line deck, you think of like really like solid shapes and blah 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 blah. But if you look at this, hold the phone, please. Already in PureF. If I let's save this as something. Tennis dude. If I open. Okay. You're telling me that this is not blended? If that's not blended, then I don't know what to tell you. All right? This. The thing is, he mixes them so nicely. All right? There is a literal value change. There is a blended value change in this sleeve here. This is lighter, ever so slightly, going into a darker. All right? Here is very graphical, so there might not be as much blending here. There is a tiny bit though. Right? You get some lost edges between these shapes. So there's even blending within some of these shapes here as well. Right? There's also, where is it? Like here. There is blending between these shapes. Like whoop, 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 whoop. Then it comes to a hard edge. You can see that hard edge here. Then look at this. Ooh. Blending right there. So I call bullshit on people saying that he didn't blend. Because it's layers. Now the tricky part is figuring out at what point does he do the blending. I'm pretty sure you do it for like first, maybe. Or it's kind of like fluid. You do like a little bit of blending first, then you get those hard shapes in, then you'd come back through and then you'd sort of blend it a little bit differently. You know, like if I was to do that here. Right, maybe this, like this is blended here. But then it comes down to like a hard edge under here. You know, and then we got here to offset that hard edge to show that there's form popping out. So this is where you can start to play with the fundamentals. It's like, okay, how is this all kind of fitting together, you know? Let's open Tennis Dude again and just keep that in mind. Iranian, how you doing? Just want to say thanks for your content and seeing another Aussie make it in the art world is pretty rare. Ah, fellow Aussie. Beautiful. Great to have you. Whereabouts you from? I think you've been in here before, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe someone with the same avatar name. Did you say he supposedly doesn't blink? Oh, no, that I can't confirm nor deny. He may not have blinked. But blend. You know? The new artist in town. Great to have you back. Art Attack was Australia? Was it? Maybe. Yeah. I could be completely wrong. Sydney, but I'm moving to Adelaide. Fantastic. Nice one. What are you moving down here for? Are people scared of spiders in Australia, or are you all used to them? We're all used to them. They're fine. They're not going to hurt you. Unless you get the ones that do hurt you. I'm going to take a 2-minute break. I will be back momentarily. I should actually write that on here. So for newcomers, it's not just... Ba, ba, 2 minutes. Damn it. Let's actually get a better brush, shall we? Something you can see. Cool. All right. Toodles. Hello. Oh, also, thank you, gamer. I'm pretty sure Art Attack was Australian. It may have just been the Art Attack guy that was Australian. I'm pretty sure there was two different ones. Yeah, I'm almost guaranteed there was. Was Art Attack Australian originally? No, Art Attack was originally a British TV show. Boom. Told ya. Yeah, it aired internationally, including in Australia. Yeah, I swear the guy was English. Yeah, I used to watch that all the time. You guys just can't tell the Australian and English accent apart. Ah, the Brits. Oh, fuck. Okay, cool. So we've connected the head there. That's nice. One thing I did see all the time with line deckers work, right? Sometimes Where's a good example? Like here, right? If we've got this shoulder, this deltoid, right, and it's here, we can model the form and get it feeling 3D based on the light source, blah, 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 blah. But what I'm going to mention is the wrapping away. So like here, this back edge, oftentimes he would, one, have a hard line there. All right. And two, he would have a very subtle transition between this, like the main form, and then how it's wrapping behind, which just gives it that illusion of it's actually sitting in a three-dimensional space. You know, it can be super subtle, but if you do that everywhere and you're just conscious of it, it can really sell that idea of just like form. I'm not so interested in the little like the line decker things. Those can always be done after, you know what I mean? Like that, it's almost like a secondary thing, but a lot of people focus on that mostly. I'm more focused on his technique with everything else. I can tell. I think it's just because I watched a Jazza Art Attack video. Must have made, aha, there you go. I used to watch the French one when I was a kid. I loved this show. Yeah, it was good, right? It was good. Now, I would really actually want to push this more, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to continue on with the color for now. Continue on with the color. But when I say push more, I mean like the gesture. Like I would want to almost even push the gesture of the expression, the hair, like everything, just like pushed more. So we should also look at these subtle value shifts here. I did make a little script that I might use here for subtly adjusting the values by like percentages. Let's see if I can whack that open. Because there's one adjustment I want to make. It will take 2 minutes. Presets, scripts, decrease brightness and increase brightness. Open with cursor. Okay, so adjust the brightness. Just be brightness app for color. How do I make the... I think this is what I have to do. equals I need to grab the current color. Because it was doing some weird stuff with the... No, not minus the adjustment. Current color equals current. Yep, so it just stays the same. That should work. It's kind of... I don't know. It's kind of a shit hack. But if we change that, then we could come here. And if I increase... let's get the better touch tool because that's what makes it work. Aha. I think. Nah, see, it's, if I change the brightness down, the saturation goes here. So we need to get that. Anyway, this is, I don't want to be doing coding on this stream, but current color up. Let saturation. Yes. Why doesn't tab work, you scumbag? Oh, it's fine. I'll sort it out after stream. But I want to, release this for free. Because it is helpful if you're just in grayscale. Just to be like, all right, I want to go just like one notch above. Oh, no. There. Stop. So if we want to go just one notch above this, I can just go 1% above, 1% above. And you can like really subtly mess with the values and start sort of like stepping it up really, really subtly, which is nice. Instead of having to come here and go like, every single time. But yeah, just got to tweak it a little bit. Oh, damn, live coding. Rimu Art. Do you have a Discord server? I do. Links in the description. If you want to give it a whirl. More than welcome. It'd be great to have you. Bro, I can't join from Instagram. Yeah, Instagram is broken at the moment. I don't know why. It was just lagging like crazy. They keep changing stuff in Instagram, and I'm not entirely sure what's happened with it. But all I know is it's annoying. Will you wear wigs? Never say never. I don't know in what situation would I wear a wig. Who says I'm not wearing one now? Is a hat just a less hairy wig? Riddle me this. What are you talking about, wigs? Where did this come from, Belly Babe? That's your old avatar name, Balu Lalululu. I'm reminded of the Flight of the Conchords episode where Brett makes a hair helmet. Flight of the Conchords is great. If you want a New Zealand show, Flight of the Conchords. Highly recommend. See, I sound like Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, maybe if you squint your ears a little bit. I don't know the wigs meme. Or is a wig a hairy hat? Exactly. There you go. All right. I want to start working on the body. Let's get the texture crunchy. I do want to refine some, there's a need for a couple of different brushes, I think, that I've been playing around with. Also, Super, thank you so much for the shortcuts. They have saved me so much time in Blender. The little tab just to go wherever I want. Quick favorites. Holy shit. Like, it's a bloody game changer. Prank interview of Elijah Wood. Actually, that rings a bell. Does ring a bell. Also, I hope you know I'm not sticking with one color here. Like if I want to increase or decrease this value, I'm not sticking with this same hue, if that makes sense. Blender is full of so many amazing secrets that only the oldest of us know. Man, you share some wisdom that day. Whew. I've also, because I was trying to, I've like edited this scrape brush a little bit to kind of get a little bit more of what I want. But I've also been doing a lot of I think it's, I don't know what you'd call it, poly modeling or whatever, just like standard polygonal modeling that, and then I'll do like the subsurface, no, not subsurface, subdivision surface to get like really sharp, like planes, which has led me into a world of topology and retopology. And man, but the nice thing about it is I could just go through, create a base model, like a base version of it with all the planes that I want. Then I've just been duplicating it, stretching it out to fit like different character shapes. It's actually been pretty good. Rimu Art, it's late, so I have to go now, but I love the stream and the vibes. Appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for popping in. You have a great evening. The multi-res modifier works for sculpting more. Aha. Subsurface smooths what you have. Multi-res actually generates new geometry for you to sculpt on. Yeah, I'm not even looking to sculpt necessarily. I'm just thinking like for hard surfaces. That's almost what I wanted, was like a hard surface type of model. So I wasn't even too keen on like sculpting it anymore, because you always get a little bit of that funk with it, with like the edges, unless you spend the next like 7 hours polishing the thing. Like, this is what I'm talking about. It's better just to show you. Defer. So like one of those was a good one. Like this. This is just subsurf. There's no sculpting on this guy. It's all just this. So then I like hit the crease, the median crease amount, so that I could just get really, like, I'm sure the topology of it is fucking terrible. But I mean, it's doing the job-ish. I'd like to know, because there's certain edges that I would like to be sharp. It's just some of these little like artifacts here that shit me. Like, it's, yeah, but that's what, this is kind of what I mean. So then so at the base level, it is like that, essentially. So then if I did want to, whatever you call it, multi-res, I could go off of this and then go and sculpt more onto it. But I really just wanted a good base mesh to then work off of, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Mohan, how you doing? Now, do I block in a little bit of my idea for... Actually, yeah, let's move him back to where he was. Old mate Murray. Because I wouldn't mind him being in some water. That'd be a fun little challenge. That reflection would probably be down here somewhere, if we're being honest with ourselves. Now we've got to figure out, is his hand going to be above or below the water? I don't know. At the end of the day, if you can make it work, then make it work. I prefer the Dyna Topo remesh method because I can think of the shape before I think about the topology. Yeah. Yeah, there's pros and cons to it, definitely. But I might get that retopology plugin that you mentioned. I think it was like Quick Retopo or something from Gumroad. Craft. I don't have a tablet, but I watch your tutorial and live videos and I apply it on drawing on my phone. Ah, fantastic. Speed Retopo. Legend. Thanks, Super. Because there's only so much I can get done with the blended. I mean, speed-wise. I just want to be like, boom, poly, 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 poly. Hi Ben, I'm having trouble in rendering textures of multiple things. Okay. Sorry to hear that. What multiple things are we talking about? Because objects, they all have different properties, right? How they reflect light. Essentially, everything is a reflection. So, everything we see, if there were no reflections, we would not see anything. So if we can figure out whatever materials reflection properties are, then we can have a pretty good shot at replicating that. The guy sells it everywhere. It's on Gumroad, but I sent the ArtStation link. Legend. Thanks, dude. It's also on the Blender market or whatever that's called now. I think the name changed. Ah, nice one. Yeah, it's called Super something. Super Hive or... Yeah, they've done a rebrand for whatever reason. Did you end up making progress on that other sculpt? No, I haven't yet. I haven't. It's on the to-dos though. No, I've been working like those the planes. The one I just showed you. That's what I've been working on for the workshop. To really show the different planes and how they're kind of the same. Even if you change the shape of the head, you know. We can use similar planes. Mm-mm. So this is a tricky part with upward tilting heads, is you want to oftentimes show more than would actually be shown. See, this feels more natural than what it was like 2 seconds ago, because we're seeing less, well, less of that forehead, you know. Now that ear, if we were to carry it across, that'd probably be more. So we just follow it across with our eyes. Joe Low 70. How you doing? Love the movement and strain in this one. Thank you. So I'm trying to follow that across. Right, where is the bottom of this falling? Could be just under there. It's easy for me to sketch and draw, but difficult to paint, making look like 3D. Any tips? I'll do your best to get a cheap pen tablet or some sort of tablet. Because if you're just doing it on your phone, that's tricky stuff. That would be my first recommendation. Second recommendation would be, if you're getting things looking good with drawing, right? So if you're getting the shading looking good with drawing, nothing really changes that much with painting. Colors, yes, obviously. But how the form turns, right? How this form turns and how you show that, instead of hatch marks, you know, it's going to be value, like a block of value. Instead. So if you can start thinking of the foundational principles, instead of like, oh, painting's this crazy thing, start thinking about, okay, what is actually happening and what am I trying to convey? What's the solid form of the object? Even feel like, if you can imagine yourself, or get used to trying to do it, like, see if you can imagine like touching it, like putting your hands on the surface of it, right? So if I'm touching there, like inside his eye, then that's going to like dip in a little bit. Maybe this then, this transition here, that it would be like a smoother transition. So maybe that's going to be a little bit of a smoother transition there, and then there might be a hard edge here if I can imagine actually touching that, you know. So you can imagine like, all right, touch underneath here, it's like curved in maybe a little bit. Maybe this is actually a little bit more cylindrical, so it's not so much of like a hard edge, so that sort of wraps down and around and under. Right, which is that muscle working to get that that expression happening. Same deal here with the teeth. Ah, back Cappy. In with a good one. How you doing, man? Because let's crack open Blender again, right? So if I were to, like, this is what we're trying to, something more along the, yeah, just like as like a base idea. And if we whack, all right, so we're kind of looking up. If we can throw on wireframes, maybe. This is what we're imagining. All these wireframes. Oh, geez. All along here. Right, and depending where that light source is where the light's going to hit. Right, so this is what I'm thinking about all the time. All right, all the time, just. Right, there's dimension to it. That's what makes. That's the only like the 2D representation of this in this 3D program. If these values didn't change with the light, you wouldn't be able to tell what you're doing. You know, it's the same deal as painting. If we're not changing those values dependent on the surface, the viewer can't tell what's happening, or it's just very unclear. You know, and then if I come here, add, also I found a nice little plugin. Where is it? Yeah, this gives me a quad sphere. That doesn't, for those that don't, doesn't matter right now, but it's a nice little thing. So every little, let's actually remesh it. Yeah, super. It's called extra mesh objects. Yeah, I usually use the cast modifier to make a quad sphere. Yeah, extra mesh objects. It's a nice little shortcut. But if we were to look at the light here, so the light's shining here, any little undulation that we make, the only reason that we can tell that this is actually happening is because there's a change in value. All right? And the taller it gets, the more of a car shadow it makes, blah, 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 blah. If we do a tiny little crease, even the slightest little crease there, in reality, that's like nothing. That's so small, but there is going to be a change in value. So it's always thinking about that form. At the large scale and the small scale, you know? Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to noodle on. We can also not do this, but we can this here. And then use the lasso tool to our advantage to then start painting in some of that variation. AJ Tunes, hello sir, love you and your works, inspires me and learning a lot from my character designs. Ah, fantastic. Thanks for popping in. Glad to hear it. So I like the idea of this being just like a plane. It's like a real subtle, just like. Le Malveillant. My apologies for butchering your name. How you doing? Great to have you. Welcome live. Ah, beautiful. Not much, man. Just having some fun. Figuring out the forms, you know. So this right here is where we could do like the Lion Decker-esque, like real hard edged. Actually, what I've been doing recently with the Filthy plugin, shout out, shameless plug, it's bloody fantastic and I love it, is to actually feather it a little bit instead of it having like a super hard edge, which is cool. But I could start playing around with the, if I don't do anti-aliasing, like start playing around with a little bit softer edge shadows, or shadow shapes, sorry. And then I could carve back into those later on, you know. Ah, beautiful, man. Just gonna hang out. Mal is better if it's easy for you. Okay, I'm gonna try and remember that. What day do you come on lives? This time every week. Every single week. I think we may have missed 2 or 3 last year. Been streaming for over 2 hours now. Jeez. I'm just getting lost in this one. Yeah, I might have to hop off in about 15 minutes. Thank you for the reminder, Soups. Yeah, I've got to get some recording done. So, oh, it is what it is, you know. I'm having fun. Oh, there's a lot I'd love to do with this character. Like make him a little bit more just chunky. I want to kind of design these shapes a little bit more. Why are they skipping my messages? I have no clue. Sometimes YouTube will block certain messages because there's certain phrases in there. Not saying that you said anything bad, but it's can be pretty buggy sometimes as to what they end up censoring. Oh, nice one, Mao. Nice one. Hope you get a ton out of it. Wish the Filthy plugin was in Procreate. You and me both. I would love to make it for Procreate, but I don't think they have the opportunity to make plugins and such. Yeah, you can. You can do like autofill, I think. You're not wrong, Super. Could this be an opportunity to lose some edges? So kind of do what we did last week. Wasn't super happy with how that one came out last week. I don't know, just didn't do it for me. But maybe this could be a redemption. So it's kind of like, it could be a cool little, because there's like reflections, he's in water, he's like sort of, yeah, I don't know, just playing with an idea at the moment. Don't hold me to it. Do you think shape understanding is more important than just raw anatomy knowledge? Depends on your goals. But as a broad strokes, yes. So it's like, I would much prefer to know. Let's put it in context, right? I would much prefer to know how to draw this muscle here, understanding that it's got form, right? There's dimension to it, and knowing how to draw that rather and not knowing the name of it. It's a pectoral, it's the pecs, by the way, but versus being able to name it and not draw it. So they're both valuable. It's both valuable to know it. But if we're talking pure, like what do you want from it? My assumption is that you just want to be able to paint and draw cool stuff, the cool stuff that you want to paint and draw, right? Well, the most important thing there is to paint and draw cool stuff. And how do you do that is by understanding, well, again, that's subjective, what cool stuff is to you, but is understanding how to draw. I'd almost go as far to say gesture is just as important as well. If we're talking like human, like figure and stuff. Like, I wonder, what if we just go, bye-bye, chin. That looks kind of cool. Ish. What about this? Now we're playing around with conceptual stuff. Like, is this actually happening in the real world? No. But from a values perspective, it still holds up. Right? It still looks like shadow. That's why I can make it like a crazy color. Amamijan, bro, you helped me so much. Thank you. Ah, glad to hear it, my friend. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate ya. So yeah, the reason we can do this is because we have an understanding of values. Values are king. It's kind of like weaving in and out of reality, which is kind of trippy but kind of cool at the same time. I like it. I like it. So then we can add that like hard edge to really hit home that, yeah, this is a cast shadow. Hard edge. It gives that illusion. And then if we couple that, whoa, this is where it gets exciting, right? We couple that with clear form transitions. Let's say here. We make this pretty smooth, right? We can even get the smudgy boy out and smudge it, but making sure that this part up here is going to be the brightest in comparison to down here. We've got a little bit of that happening, but if we just do this, we just ready? Look at it makes it. Oh, no, hold on, hold the phone. We're still in smudge mode. We just go. Uh-oh, what's that? No. Okay. Yeah, we're back. Ready? Just a little, just that indication. Look at that. It is so fun. Now it gives that illusion of form. And why does this work? Values, baby. We can start doing the same thing for everything else. I feel like a lot of us artists, especially debuting artists, think mastering human anatomy is more important. Yeah, I don't agree, personally. Because I was stylizing people. Like, I mean, I look back at some of my work from even like 2 years ago, let's say. I'm like, oh, that anatomy's terrible. But it looked kind of cool. So it's like, again, it comes back to your goals. What are you after? What's the thing? What's the end game? You know, not even the end game. It's like, what do you want to know anatomy for? Because I think it's super valuable. I get nerdy with anatomy. Like, I'll sit and draw. Like, I'll layer things up. I'll come through and be like, all right, here's the head, neck. Even if it's like more stylized, doesn't even matter. So we got the rib cage, and I'll build on top of that. So then I'll say, all right, here's the pec. let's say the arm is up here, so then this is going to be up here. Got the acromion process. This is going to insert there, so this is going to be stretched. All right, so I can get, if I want to, really, really technical with it. And I can use this to better stylize, you know? It just allows me to understand what's going on. Just a little bit better. Right, and I'll take it one step at a time. Like, I wouldn't go and full on just go, okay, I'm going to do the knee now, and then I'm going to go do the shin, and then now I'm going to learn the hip. It's like, all right, maybe try and create something that you need to know anatomy for it to be successful. If you want to learn anatomy, right? It's like, all right, I want to learn this pose, for example, but I want to stylize it. All right, how would I do that? All right, so we need to know what's happening with the underneath of the arm here. Right, if we did want to get more anatomically correct, we want to understand how the pecs lay on the rib cage. You know, we want to know how some of this is simplified a little bit. The abdominals, the obliques, the serratus, blah, 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 right? So you can take it like one little step at a time, and don't be afraid to then try it again, you know? Like, okay, let's see if we can have this leaning back a little bit. You know, it's just going to pinch back here. We've got to make sure we get the lats. Right at a different angle. Maybe we're not going to see as much of the top of that pec because we're kind of looking up at it now. You know, so it's going to be more beneficial to you, I think, to do it contextually. Again, I don't know what kind of style that you're after, what your inspirations are, but coming at it a little bit more analytically and giving yourself the chance to, damn, that's a chest and a half, to experiment. Right, and then even give yourself even more challenges. What if you were to look down more so? All right, what would that look like? So then we'd see a little bit more of the traps. Yeah, maybe the top of the head is going to block a lot of stuff. You know, and then if this arm was going out there, might see a little bit of the deltoid. We'd have to figure out the clavicular. Right, so then you can get into sort of foreshortening and stuff. But take it a step at a time, you know. And this is how you push yourself. Because this is scary when you're like, oh, now I've got to try the top-down view. And I might mess it up right now. I'm probably messing it up. I guarantee I am. Right, but that's where you can start to reassess and be like, all right, where did I go wrong? Where could I have made this a little bit different? Use reference, you know. And start playing. Start understanding stuff as best you can. Instead of thinking of it as a checkbox to check off. It's like, no, let's have some fun and understand it from all angles. Right? Understand the pecs. How do they connect into the arm? You know, understanding the insertion and yeah, the insertion points of the muscles is really helpful as well, where they insert into the bony landmarks. It's good fun. Have fun with it. Do you follow any animation / VFX artists? I do. I can't think of any off the top of my head though. Don't even get, yeah, you're right. Don't even get me started on knees. Knees are, once you figure out knees, woof. The end game is to find the stones and fix the blip. True. That is the end game. I think exaggeration is cool, so I'm going for it. Beautiful. And don't be afraid to exaggerate, right? Do a study here. Like if I was to study him, like directly, right? I would do this. I'd be like, okay. I'm going to block in the head, try and understand. Also, I've done this a lot, so the speed of what I'm doing this, I don't, this is for demonstration purposes, okay? All right, what's the gesture of the torso here? See if you can find those shapes. All right, get it more realistic to begin with. Right, I can't help it stylized because I've been doing this for a long time. But you get what I'm saying, right? You can start off here. Then you can do, all right, let's do it skinnier. What would happen if he was like really, really skinny? Or we're going to try and have the chest in the same position, but we were to make different decisions of where the limbs are, or how much muscle he has. He has like very little, let's say, if we wanted to be super skinny. All right, and this is where you could get style reference. All right, start pushing it. And then you can go the opposite way. Then you can go, all right, let's bulk him up. But in doing this, everything else has to change as well, which is the fun challenge. You've got to figure out, okay, if I'm making everything larger, how is that going to affect the shapes? And this all comes with practice, right? So maybe this here, he's got like massive lats, like just like lats for days. He's got wings, basically. All right, so maybe the head's going to be tiny. Try and still find the general shapes of what's happening, but this is how you can start to play. Going between these two. All right, big old deltoid. We've got basically the Hulk, right? But these negative shapes here between the arm for the realistic one that we would see are going to be different because we're inventing these shapes now, right? His arm might be a lot closer to his body. It might even be closer than that because it's so large, right? So it might come down here. You know, so you can start to just play as best you can. There's like this Japanese artist, Kai Urano. She's so good with that stylization. And sometimes it'd be like she sacrifices anatomic coherence for a more stylized approach. And it's so cool. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Iris, the blue shadows are looking sweet. Thank you. I agree. I quite like it. I've gone a little bit over time than what I expected. So I'm going to pause this here for the moment. I want to say a big thank you to everyone that's joined today. It's been a lovely chat. Great hanging out. For those that are in chat, you're a bunch of bloody legends. For those that aren't in chat but are lurkers, love my lurkers. I lurk all the time. So I appreciate you just as much. Before we head off, the workshop happening the 24th of January. You got a couple of weeks. All right. If you are thinking about it, I'd hop on it because the spots are filling fast. And I think that's it. Really? Had a lot of fun with this one. I'm going to quickly save it just so we don't miss it. Tennis dude. That'll make sense to me in the future, hopefully. And yeah, have fun. Have a great rest of your week. Streams happen every week. This time every week, Monday Australian Central Standard Time, 10:45 a.m. I think it's around 3 or 4 p.m. PST on a Sunday because we're living in the future over here in Adelaide. So I reckon that's it. Yep. That's pretty much it. All right. I'll leave you to it. Thanks for having me. And I'll see you next week. Have a good one, guys.